Gearóid Ó Tuathaigh, we're entering into a decade of commemorations, 100 years on from the events that led to the birth of the state. How significant are these commemorations, and how different will the centenary celebrations be to what's happened in the past, say at the half-century mark or so?
Well, certainly the commemorations will reflect present-day concerns, present-day priorities. That's one thing about all commemorations. Though they are commemorating events in the past, they're always about the present. That is to say, they're always undertaken to meet the needs of the living. The needs of the dead are past our knowing. And they do reflect that. They reflected it in terms of controversy. They reflected it in terms of the public mood at any given time. This was so always for major commemorations, Patrick's Day, the 12th of July, which changed their shape and their content and their meaning over time. And for us, certainly, the famine, for example, is an interesting example. The centenary went pretty well unobserved at the 150th. The state itself was comfortable enough, prosperous enough, and the diaspora was interested enough, and the awareness of hunger was universal enough to make a commemoration a major event. 1916 itself, the 50th, of course, in 1966, a major public event. One where there was plenty of debate, yes, but certainly a major public event. The 75th, in the anxieties of the Northern Troubles and all that went on in the early 1990s, utterly muted. And the reason for it is very simple. It's not that the event itself ceases to be significant, but its meaning, the legacies, the lessons, they're always going to be contested in an open society. And the public mood, whether it's anxious or confident, will always be reflected in commemorations, whether they're undertaken by the state or by other bodies. And I think our commemorations over the next decade of the seismic events of 1913 to 23, as it were, will also reflect that. They will reflect the changing agenda, the changing public mood, as the 1913, for example, issue in the matter of trade union rights, the question of poverty, the vocabulary of class will undoubtedly emerge strongly during 2013. And likewise, the commemoration of the Great War, about war and international politics, and 1916 likewise. So each one of them will resonate depending upon the mood of the time, the priorities and the needs of the living, including the political needs of those sponsoring commemorations. They're invariably central to any of these things.
And obviously at the moment in the current economic and political climate, you know, maybe the self-confidence that you spoke of, perhaps not there to the same degree.
The current climate of doubt about, for example, the competence of the state, I mean the competence in the technical sense of the value of sovereignty. What does a sovereign state mean in 2013, 2014? What will it mean in 2016, when the anniversary of those who saw it as the precondition and almost the prerequisite for all flowers blooming? We will have that kind of question. What does a sovereign Irish state entail in today's terms? What does sovereignty mean in a globalized world? And those kind of debates will be, I think, influenced certainly by a rereading of the past, but they'll be read through the lens of present concerns, imperatives and priorities now. And it is the case that the public mood is much less confident now about the Irish state and what it can and cannot do after the shattering bangs of recent years. But that mood can change. That mood can change, and it will be interesting to see how that changing mood itself casts its shadow on the way, the tone, and the way in which commemorations roll out, as it were, over the next decade.